Hello there, this is Kush Sharma from Creative Pad Media. In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how you can use Adobe Firefly AI and a bit of Photoshop to really transform a very ordinary food shot like this one. I just taken this shot when I was having this English breakfast and then turn it into something like this. So not even too ultra professional, but something that just takes your existing ordinary shot into something that you can share and probably get more likes. Let's say if you were to share this on Instagram, maybe you're a food blogger, or maybe you just like to share these shots. I'm sure the second shot looks better. So I just want to show you this quick process and how to do this. So the first thing is you have to go to firefly.adobe.com. The link will be given in the description. You don't have to pay for this because when you create an Adobe account, at some point it'll ask you to create an account. You do get certain amount of credits, so you will be able to generate these AI images just like I'm going to be showing you. It's just that you won't be able to generate too many of them on the free plan. Okay, so once you go to firefly.adobe.com, you're going to go to scroll down and then you go to this text to image option and just hit generate. And then it's just going to show you the different pictures here. Just click on any one of them. Doesn't really matter because we just want to go to the interface where you can generate this. And right now, just remove this prompt because I still don't know how to directly go to this interface. Like you just have to click on those images. Okay, and that's it. So now we are set. Now I have shared the image with you so that you will be exactly able to do this. And later on, you can do this with your own food images. So just let me just brief you about what these settings are. So here, before we generate this image, is asking us which model do you want to use for generation. So you always will select the latest model. So you'll see that it'll be selected by default. Let the fast mode be on. What this means is that you'll quickly be able to generate the images. They won't take too much time to come here when we hit generate. Okay, but they will be downscaled images. The resolution won't be great, but if we do like one of them, we can upscale it. Okay, so that's the advantage. The aspect ratio will depend on the image that you're choosing. We get 4 options. Now, this particular image that we are using in this tutorial, this I just clicked with my phone, and usually when you click with your phone, it's going to be in that portrait look or the format, right? Because it's longer. So we're going to select portrait here, okay? Then content type. Ultimately, this is about a photograph, so we want the results to be photorealistic. So don't select auto because then it can give you like a painting-like generation also. So we're going to select photo here so that it's photorealistic. Now, this part is the most important. When it comes to composition, we want to upload a reference image here, the very image that of the ordinary food shot that we're trying to transform, because when you do that, when you ultimately generate, is going to keep the composition, the perspective, the structure similar to your reference image. And that is very important because we are going to be taking these images back to Photoshop just to mask out the food area so that we don't see the food which is generated by AI. We still want our food from the original shot. Okay, so here, let's upload the image that I've given to you of the food. Right, so this is that ordinary looking shot. I'm just going to select this. It's going to show you this message. Just hit continue. And this is here. And increase this strength slider all the way to the top. This means that we are not giving any liberty to Firefly AI to change anything. We want it as close as possible to the original. Okay. And then if we just scroll down here, the next part is styles. I did try this. What this means is you can also upload the reference image right here also. And style is slightly different from composition. It means that we can do the same thing, but we can tell it to even, let the colors and let even the exact things in the shot, the lighting and everything to be the same as the reference image. I did try this. The reason I don't want to do this here is because then I've seen when you do generate the AI image, it's just so similar to the reference shot that we are using that it doesn't really make any difference. Because remember, we are trying to improve it, right? We just don't want something so similar that it doesn't make a difference. So I would just suggest leave styles as it is. Don't upload anything here. And then if I scroll down, you can leave the effects. We don't want any effect. If you want a certain type of color and tone, you can select. For example, when I was practicing this, I did try with warm tone and it gave me good results. Like the name suggests, the image was more yellowish, but I did try a couple of this and I just decided that what I got with none was it just looked better. Okay. Lighting also, if you want, you can play around with this, but right now let's just not change anything. And finally, we are just going to use our prompt. And here's the thing, right now in this particular thing, the prompt is not too important because we are not really trying to change the shot too much. So what, but you have to type something, because unless and until you don't type, unless and until you type, this thing doesn't come in. Like, we can't hit the generate button or the try prompt button. So we have to type something. So what I just tried, I tried a couple of prompts here, and so that it doesn't really distort the image too much. And I just typed in professional food shot, and this, in my opinion, was okay, because we are really not trying to change too much. And then let's try to just see the results here. And since this is on fast mode, we're basically going to get the generations pretty fast. So let's look at this. You can see just took maybe 2 or 3 seconds, and you're going to get something like this. So if I open one of these images, you can clearly see this is not a high resolution image, but that's because we are on the fast mode. But right now we're paying more attention to getting something that we like. Then we can always hit upscale. Okay, so that's not a problem. So if you look at this, you can see, right, if we compare this with the original image, it has pretty much, if you see from a composition point of view, it hasn't changed. The bottle is still there. Yes, it's changed. The food is there. Yes, it's changed. But the perspective, the angle, everything remains the same. That is what we want. And then what we are looking for here is, yes, these things have changed, but are the other things looking better? Because in the original shot, it just random stuff there that I just clicked when I was eating, right? So we want to at least get rid of that ordinariness in the shot. Okay, that's the whole objective. So maybe this is fine, at least looks better than the original. Something like this, right? You can see it looks good. So I'm mainly kind of looking at the environment here, not the food. We will mask that out in Photoshop. So here, something like this, and like this. And you keep doing this, right? You keep hitting generate till the time you find something. Now, I've already practiced it. So one of the images that I got after hitting generate a couple of times, maybe 3, 4 times, was this image that you can see in front of you. I've also shared this image. So the download link is again given in the description. So now that we have both these images, the real one and the AI generated Firefly one, we're going to open these 2 images back in Photoshop so that we can mask out things that we don't want. So let's do that. All right, so both the images are now inside Photoshop. This is the AI one, and this is the original. You can clearly see that this just looks much better. If you were to share this, it would look great. But the only thing is the food here is fake, right? This is AI generated, and the bottle is a bit different. We're going to change that and keep the environment the same. Also, like I mentioned before, whenever you do select your final image inside Firefly, don't forget to hit the upscale button, okay? So you can see this is an upscale image, so the resolution has increased and the details just look much better. And then I have opened these shots inside Photoshop. Now what we're going to do is we're going to open this, or basically we're going to superimpose these 2 layers. So you can, if you want, you can drag this out, but I just find it better with this image. Just hit duplicate layer, and under destination, select this tab name here, or the other layer, which is going to be this one, the original shot, and just hit OK. If we go back now, this image is going to be there. So no dragging. It's pretty clean. With just few clicks, you get it here. As you can see, the original shot was taken from a Samsung Android, so the resolution obviously is going to be even higher than the AI image. So this image is slightly smaller. That's not a problem. We can, with this, make sure this new layer is highlighted, hit Control Command D. That will be able, or that will transform this shot or get these handles, and just pull it out till the time it's not 100% going to superimpose, because that's one feature I still feel Firefly should incorporate, is to exactly specify the aspect ratio when we're generating. Remember, we only got 4 options like landscape, portrait. So there's a bit of the difference in the aspect ratios and the resolution. So it's not going to 100% match. Otherwise, what happens is it would have just been easier to superimpose these 2 things. But even now, it's not too tough, okay? Because what I can do here is that with this top layer selected, just reduce the opacity a bit. That's what I like to do. Till the time you can see the layer below also of the original shot. And then what I can do is with the move tool, I can just try to move it till the time, I'll have to use my arrow keys just to be precise on the keyboard. But you can see, right, like something like this. This is as close as we can get to the 2 images being superimposed. And something like in this case, like for example, the bottle, it helped us align these 2 things. So usually you're going to find something in your shot which can serve as a reference point when you're using this trick to just make sure they're lying on each other, because the usual method of highlighting both these layers and going to this option here, auto align layers, it usually doesn't work unless and until Photoshop really finds very similar things in the shot. Here, the things are very different in both the shots, so that feature doesn't really work. You still have to do this a bit manually, and this trick works fine, okay? So now that we have this where we like, we can increase the opacity back, and now what we need to do is we just need to basically change whatever we are seeing in this tray and change the bottle, because the original stuff was a bit different. So we're also going to be doing some other things because we'll have to match the lighting and the color, but let's at least start this process. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, because I'm going to be showing you if there's any imperfection afterwards. We can easily correct that by using Generative Fill AI, okay? So let's start this process. What we're going to do is on this top layer, we're going to be opening up a layer mask. So let me do that. You can see we've got a layer mask. And how does a layer mask work? Right now it's white, so it's just showing us this top image, right? But the moment we start painting black anywhere on the layer mask, we're going to see the layer below, which is this one. So where are we going to paint black? Mainly, we want to get the food items back, right? And also, this bottle is different because here it looks like an alcoholic beverage, and there is a ketchup bottle. If you don't want to change that, some people might say that I'm okay with it. I don't want to change. It'll be extra work for me. You can leave it like that. But at least I would feel that most people would like to show the real food items, right? So let's mask this out. We'll also probably try to mask the bottle out. So here we can take our paintbrush, make sure black is selected, and hardness, keep it somewhere of the brush, somewhere like in between. That's usually by default, so that the edges are not too hard and not too soft, okay? And then you can start to paint here. You can see that our original food then starts to get revealed, okay? Even the color of the tray was a bit different, so and sometimes when you're doing these things, you have to adopt the mentality that good enough is good, right? You don't have to be perfect. For example, now both the trays, the AI tray and the real tray, are being seen, but when you show it to a new person, you really don't have to worry, because they really can't notice it, right? That's how I go about my editing. If it looks fine, then I'm not trying to be 100% and then also remove this, because that's extra work for me, right? So something like this is fine. So I'm just trying to get the original bread back. A bit of the AI bread is there, no problem. The ends, I'll just leave it, because a new person can't really make out what's happening. Now, even if you look at this part, the part here is probably from AI, because the real spoon, the fork wasn't like this. But can they make out? No, so just leave it, right? The second thing we probably would like to do is just to change the bottle. That's also optional. If I was actually doing it, I like the yellow bottle, I would have probably left it, but just showing you that, yes, you can probably do it. If you kind of go out a bit, okay, it can be fixed later on, but right now, something like this, I would probably just zoom into, hit the X key on the keyboard to switch to white, because now if you have paint with white, that's just going to correct the mistake, right? So we're going to reveal the original, but sometimes this can just take a bit of time, because right now I'm actually using my mouse, but when it comes to something like this, I usually use my tab. So it's okay. Like something like this is also fine, because right now the whole idea is to show you how things are working. And now, if you think of it, we've got our original food back. So that's good. We actually ate this food. So if you're kind of a food blogger, you're not at least showing the wrong food. It's not a completely AI generated image, but we've got a good environment. So we've got the best out of both the shots. But here's the problem. The AI generated image, as you can clearly see from the stuff that is left, had a much higher contrast. It looked much more professional. The colors were just more appealing and more vibrant. So we need to match that with this. Now, how do we do that? This is where a very underrated function in Photoshop comes into play, which is the match color function, which I've shown in a lot of my videos. And how that works is that we're basically going to change so if I hide this top layer for now, we're going to change the colors here and match it to this particular image. So how do we do this? Very easy. So just for now, we're going to hide this top layer, the AI one and the mask. So we are back to our original. What we are going to do here is very simple. Just go to image with this layer selected, the original one. Just go to image, adjustments, and go to match color. This is the fastest way to steal the colors. Think of it like this, to steal the colors from another image. Okay, so we're going to go to match color. And then it's going to ask you a reference, like the source, that where do you want to steal these colors from? So remember this image, Firefly food, that we've opened up in another tab, this is going to be the source. That's why I never close this image. Let it be open in another tab, because that's the only way it's going to show up here in the drop down menu. Okay, so I'm going to select Firefly food image, and you can see that it's immediately going to put that contrast and vibrancy right here. Now, it has made it a bit darker, so that's where you get these couple of options just to edit this to your liking. So for example, I think this is too dark right now, so I can increase the luminance. So it's going to make it brighter. I want more colors I want to steal more of those colors. So I can increase the color intensity, really make it very vibrant, okay? And then finally, you've got these two. If you're noticing any bad color cast from the colors of the original image, you can hit neutralize. It's just going to try to remove that color cast. But in this case, I prefer the original, so I'm not going to check this. And finally, this fade slider means that how much of this effect do you want to fade? Do you like it as it is, or you want to say that, no, a bit of the original and a bit of the stealing of the colors? So then you can move this, because you can see now it's kind of somewhere here we are getting a balance between the original and the colors from the AI image. If you take it all the way to 100, it's just pretty much the original, okay? So basically, you're fading the effect, and how much do you want to fade of whatever match color has done, okay? So something like this, in my opinion, is fine. Maybe something like this. And now it just looks much better. So now if I was to enable this image back, you can see that this starts to now really match the vibrancy, the contrast of the original image. And finally, once you are happy with it, I would have probably spent more time in masking things. As you can see, there are some issues here, but right now I just want to show you how this is done. But this can be done in a much better way, okay? But still, I just want to show you one very easy way to correct these imperfections, which is that let's just stamp everything onto a new layer by using the shortcut, which is Control, Command, Alt, Option, Shift, and E. So we're being slightly destructive in our workflow, but this works really well. Now, everything is stamped onto layer one. We don't have any relationship now with these two, so it's easier to work with this. And how you can correct these little bit of issues is that you can just take, like, let's say, a selection tool. Wherever you notice the issue, just make a selection of that and run generative fill on an empty prompt. Don't write anything on the prompt. And usually, in most of the cases, that is just going to fix this. So let's just wait for the results here. Right, so you can see, right, that just did the job so well. We don't really have to then worry about masking everything so well. And even something like this, probably if you're noticing, just do the same thing again. So anything on the edges, if you notice, generative fill just does it much better and much faster than doing it manually. And now that we've got everything, let me just stamp everything back onto a new layer, because this is like, let's say, the final output. During the superimposing part, you can still see on the top the sizes were not similar, so just from the top, I'm just going to crop it because that image is showing through. Something like this is fine. And finally, we can now just use the normal way that we use Photoshop. For example, I can go to Filter, Camera Raw Filter, and let's say I can go to the Effects module. And here I can just do the things that we normally do, right? Like increase the clarity, because these are just slider based. Increase the texture, maybe just make it more dramatic by adding a vignette. Play around with the dehaze slider a bit. And something like this, and we are able to then just quickly get a shot and go from like this, which I just clicked sitting just with my phone without thinking anything at all. And suddenly, thanks to AI and just a little bit of work, we are able to go from this to this. So that way, if you're, let's say, a food blogger, you just like to share your photos, you're still sharing what you exactly ate. It's just that it looks better, and you tell me, if you were to share this, which one is going to get more likes? Definitely the edited shot. So I'm not saying this is 100% a professional looking shot, but just for hobbyists, if you just want a better looking image, this is one way to do it. As you can see from this tutorial, Photoshop and using AI and all these things ultimately does require you to come back here in Photoshop and know things like layer masking and all to get the final result. So if you want to learn Photoshop, I've got a completely free course which has 20 videos, and it just helps you learn all these basics so that then you can use all these different AI tools that we have today, and you can take your shots to the next level. Also, if you're interested in using Firefly AI and Photoshop AI for product shots, and can also be used for food shots, then check out the course that I released a few weeks back, just 2 weeks back, called AI Product Photo Editing using Firefly and Photoshop AI, which is all about using AI and Photoshop to transform very ordinary looking product shots into something that looks very, very professional. It's available via Udemy. The link to both the courses, the free course and this course, will be given in the description. I'm someone who is experimenting a lot with the different AI tools these days and how it can help photographers to achieve real things in photo editing. So if you are someone you want to follow that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give a like to this video, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.